Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Royal Institute of British Architects. My name is David Gloucester, and I'm Director of Education at the RIBA. I'm delighted to welcome you to the President's Medals Student Awards Ceremony, one of the most exciting evenings in our event calendar. Before we start, some housekeeping. I'd like to ask you to take note of the emergency exits in this room. I'd also ask you to please switch your mobile phones to silent rather than to off. Without wishing to sound mysterious, the reason for this will become clearer later. So that's to silent rather than off. Now, we're here this evening to continue the RIBA's tradition of rewarding the best student work in architectural education, something the Institute has been proudly doing for the past 160 years. We'll start by awarding the President's Awards for Research and then announce this year's winners of the President's Medals in 3 different categories. The Bronze Medal for the Best Design Project submitted for Part 1, the Silver Medal for the Best Design Project submitted for Part 2, and the Dissertation Medal for the Best Written Work submitted at either Part 1 or Part 2. Now, this evening also marks the opening of the President's Medals exhibition, which you'll be able to see after this ceremony on the 2nd floor of the building. This exhibition is here in London for 2 months before travelling to Newcastle, Liverpool and Dublin. Plans are also underway for the exhibition to travel further afield, not only to other UK venues, but also to Australia, Romania and the UAE. The RIBA would like to thank the sponsors of the President's Medals Awards for their generosity. Their support guarantees the future of these awards, and it enables the architecture community to continue to celebrate the very best student work. In particular, we'd like to thank our principal sponsor, Atkins, the largest engineering consultancy in the UK, the world's 5th largest international design firm, and one of the world's leading architecture practices. Atkins has supported the President's Medals as main sponsor for the past 8 years, and we're delighted they've contributed so actively to rewarding the future talent of our profession, showing great interest in the work submitted and using their very considerable expertise to assess the entries. The Institute of Materials, Minerals and Mining, IOM3, also sponsor this programme. IOM3 is a major UK engineering institution whose activities encompass the entire materials cycle. They are a leading authority in the global materials and mining community. In addition to their sponsorship, IOM3 are also offering honorary membership of the IOM3 to the medalists, the commendation winners, and to their tutors in the Part 1 and Part 2 categories. And for the 2nd year, we are supported by the Callprint team as our graphics partners. Callprint have supplied the exhibition panels and the banners displayed in our galleries. I would also like to thank our long-standing partner, the Skidmore, Owings and Merrill Foundation, that has sponsored these awards for the last 15 years and awarded 2 travelling fellowships to students submitting work for the medals. A special thank you also goes to our colleagues at the RIBA Journal, who have joined us as President's Medals media partner again this year. After this ceremony, you can pick up a special medal supplement produced in partnership with the Journal. In the current economic climate and in the face of increased hardship in architecture education, our sponsor support is especially appreciated. It is very encouraging to see this major vote of confidence in the future talent and leaders of the profession. Now, let's continue our celebration of architecture education. Please join me in welcoming to the stage a real friend and supporter of the student community, the President of the RIBA, Angela Brady.
very welcome here tonight, and this is always one of the best parties of the year. There's a great buzz in the room, and there's always great energy when it comes to anything to do with students, and we hope that you're going to continue to join with us in the future. We're going to start by awarding the President's Awards for Research, which recognise excellence in the work of PhD students, academics and practitioners. These awards help to champion high-quality architectural investigation and to promote its dissemination and incorporation into the knowledge base of our profession. They raise the profile of architects engaged in research, and they highlight the need within the profession for strategic and innovative thinking. We'll then award the President's Medals, the RIBA's international programme of student awards. And these awards have been made since the 1850s, when the RIBA started offering a silver medal to reward students' achievements. In the 1980s, the bronze medal was added to reward Part 1 students. And in 2001, the Institute started awarding the Dissertation Medal. The popularity of the President's Medals keeps growing every year, and the participation of schools in these awards has been outstanding. And I'm very happy to announce that this year's President's Medals have broken their all-time record with the highest ever number of students nominated, resulting in the highest number of entries judged by our panel of experts. This year, the RIBA invited more schools than ever before in the history of the awards, with approximately 300 schools in over 60 countries. Each school submitted their best students' work, and after several judging stages, tonight we present you with the best of the best. This is truly one of the best nights at the RIBA, and certainly my favourite night. I've been coming here for 10 years for these awards, and it's really to celebrate the future talent of our profession. And it's the reward from professionals and academics. I'm very grateful to everyone across the Institute who have dedicated so much time and effort to deliver tonight's awards. And of course, our sponsors, who David mentioned, without whose generosity this event would not be possible. We're also hugely grateful to all of our other donors and RIBA members who have worked at the RIBA Education Department, showing strong support for students and of architectural education and research. For decades, the Institute has been supporting professional education and research by validating schools of architecture worldwide, by managing funding opportunities for students in financial hardship, and rewarding those who show the originality and capability to develop knowledge within our profession. This year alone, the RIBA has awarded £185,000. Much in all, I'd like to put million there. It is £185,000 towards supporting architectural education and research. And it's the highest amount in the history of the Institute. Impressive as this may sound, this figure is still not enough in the context of our current economic climate. Over the last year, the number of applicants to our funding scheme to support architectural education was at a record high, and that is no surprise. With academic fees going up to £9,000 per year from the next academic year, it's expected that many more students will be in need of financial support. The RIBA would like to do more to support students and academics, but there's only so much that we can do with our limited resources. We're gathered here tonight to celebrate talent. However, we shall not and we must not forget that without the support of our profession, many students would not even be able to finish their studies and contribute to the future of architecture. If you're in a position to donate to our education fund, please do so. And since it was set up in 1997, our education fund has supported over 300 students, and it supported them in financial hardship with scholarships. This year we have received an unprecedented number of applications, which indicates that the future of our profession is in serious need of help. Your donation most certainly will make a difference and allow for the many talented students to prosper and showcase their work at awards and competitions like this. In fact, a number of students who submitted entries for this year's Presidential Medals were able to do so because they received funding from the RIBA Education Fund, which enabled them to successfully finish their Part 1 and their Part 2 courses. So tonight we appeal to you and to the community of architecture to help us in any way you can. Now, David did mention at the beginning of the session this evening, do not switch off your phone. We're not actually launching a new app, nor is this a game that you're going to take part in. This is rather more serious. This is, instead of a student coming up here and saying, hey, take note of this app, I'm doing it on their behalf. So I'm saying that we have here, I don't know if our slides come up yet. We have a RIBA Education Student Fund, and you can actually donate by text. I'm not expecting you to do it now, but I'm telling you about it. And it's certainly going to go up on my blog, and I hope it'll go viral, because it's one of those things that if you're supporting a student, you can do it quite quickly, within about 10 seconds, or 5 if you're one of these very young, talented people who can use their BlackBerries. So you can donate to the RIBA Education Fund quite easily, and I'm going to put this up on my RIBA blog as well. So the details are quite simply to text RIBA 01 followed by the amount, say £10, and it's 770. That's the call from the students. So all money raised towards the RIBA Education Fund goes towards supporting students and not towards anything else in the RIBA. So your donation can be made to make a difference for the future of architecture. So before we move on, I just thought that I should say something on a personal note, because I've been elected as the president of the Institute because I'm a campaigner, and I've been a campaigner all of my life. And I think one of the things that's so important in architecture, if we're to build the right environment for us to all live in, is diversity of our profession. And I think that the government's attitude to privatising education so that it's only going to go back to affordable education for rich kids, I think it's absolutely appalling. And I think that we have got to support our students, or we will not have the diversity that we've been fighting for at Architects for Change for the last 12 years. Diversity is a must for our profession if we're to survive and if we're to provide the best buildings and the best environment. A couple of weeks ago here, we launched I better get the exact name of it. The Pavilions of Protest, and it was the Vent exhibition. And the Pavilions of Protest was a group of architects, zaparchitecture.com. And David, I'm not going to go on too long about this. He's not expecting me to say anything. But zaparchitecture.com, Zora and Paul, that's where the initials came from, have started this fantastic campaign. It's going to be in RIBA Journal, and it's also on my blog. And what they have done is they have brought about what is the true cost of architectural education. It's likely to be £88,000, and that's going to close down that option for many people. So they've even got artworks for sale on their website. So I'm totally supporting architects and architecture students, and I will be out there with a placard in the streets if necessary. So please, I am your campaigning president. So I want to keep things on a positive note here. The other thing I wanted to say is there are so many people here that haven't been to the RIBA before. You are very welcome to come to the RIBA. You are very welcome to join in any of our sessions, and we will support you. And I think the important thing is that the RIBA is here to support the future of the profession, and the future of our profession starts with the students and the celebration here tonight. Thank you very much.
As Angela mentioned earlier, the President's Medals would not, of course, have been possible without the support of our principal sponsor, Atkins. So I'd now like to invite to the stage Philip Watson, Head of Education at Atkins, to say something about their involvement with the President's Medals. Philip.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. It was a great honour to be part of the judging panel for the awards and to see the energy and the talent and the creativity of the students and the input of their work. It was fantastic. Atkins has sponsored this award for several years now, and I think I'm picking up Angela's theme here a little bit. It's very important, especially in these tough economic times, that we encourage and support students, especially with the rise in fees. And we were glad to note that the RIBA in the summer introduced a minimum wage, a mandatory minimum wage, that employers should be paying students. I say should, because I'm aware that actually it doesn't happen all the time, because anecdotally students tell me that they are on very, very low wages, or indeed they're not being paid at all. And I think that's an embarrassment to our profession, frankly. So I would encourage employers to resist the temptation to exploit students. And as Angela says, as a profession, we have to make sure that students from poorer backgrounds are not discouraged from a career in architecture. At Atkins, we certainly value the contribution that students make to our work. The quality of the work that you'll see later on today will show just how much students have got to offer. The quality of work is phenomenal, and the winners, and they probably know who they are now, are well deserved. It's amazing what you've done, really. So, okay, I'll get off my soapbox, because this is a night of celebration, and hope you all have a good evening, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Philip, and to Atkins for their continued support of the President's Medals. We now move to the announcement of this year's winners of the RIBA President's Awards for Research. I'd like to invite to the stage the Chair of the RIBA's Research and Innovation Group, Professor Murray Fraser from the Bartlett School of Architecture.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Murray Fraser, and as David said, I'm the new chair of the RIBA's Research and Innovation Group. I'm just going to say a very few words about the RIBA President's Awards for Research. 2011 was the 6th cycle of the Awards for Research, and it continues to grow in prestige every year. Although they are unable to compete with the long history of the President's Medals, which will be awarded later, this relatively new programme is receiving an exceptionally high standard of entries and an increased number of submissions year on year. We currently award 3 prizes in 3 categories. Firstly, an award for the outstanding piece of research carried out in an architectural practice by an RIBA member. Secondly, an award for an outstanding piece of research undertaken by an individual or a group within an RIBA-validated School of Architecture. And thirdly, an award for the best PhD thesis completed by a student at an RIBA-validated School of Architecture. I'm also delighted to announce that from 2012, the RIBA will also be recognising excellence in master's level research, with a new award to complement the current existing 3 prizes. I'd like to take this chance to thank this year's judges, Professor Andrew Ballantyne from the University of Newcastle, who chaired the group, Dr. Jonathan Hill from the University of Nottingham, Dr. Felipe Hernandez from the University of Cambridge, Greg Pinor from Pinor and Prasad, Professor Duana Petrescu from the University of Sheffield, and Professor Sarah Wigglesworth of Sarah Wigglesworth Architects. I must also thank the Building Research Establishment for providing invaluable assistance in assessing those projects with a substantial building technology component. The awards are conducted in the spirit of the RIBA's founding charter of 1834, promoting the acquisition of architectural knowledge, a principle that is as relevant today as it was 177 years ago. With knowledge playing an increasingly significant role in the global economy, architects cannot afford to ignore its value. And these awards exist to acknowledge exceptional contributions to the field of architectural research. The winning submissions offer new insights, they have the potential to influence, they are intellectually precise, and they are all clearly and excellently presented and communicated. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. I'd now like to call back to the stage our President, Angela Brady, to award the 2011 RIBA President's Awards for Research. Now, before presenting the President's Award for Outstanding Professional Practice-Located Research, we have one commendation to award in the Practice-Located Research category. And this research project is entitled Compendium for the Civic Economy. The judges described the compendium as a topical source of inspiration and information for organisations and individuals embarking on collaborative community regeneration and place-shaping projects. Highly original, this may be the first book of its kind written by an architecture practice. Johnny Steiner is receiving the award on behalf of the research team. Ladies and gentlemen, the commendation for practice-located research is awarded to Architecture 00. And the project which wins the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding Practice-Located Research is entitled Building Materials and the Environment. The judges considered this was a well-presented, highly readable handbook on construction materials and their environmental impact, and written in a language that will sustain both the uninitiated and the expert. Joanne Dennison and Chris Halligan will receive the award on behalf of the practice. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's RIBA President's Award for Outstanding Practice-Located Research is Stephen George and Partners. Now, we now move on to the category for Outstanding University-Located Research. Two commendations are given. The first of these is entitled Passive and Hybrid Downdraft Cooling. It comes from the University of Nottingham, and the judges said it provides a rigorous and concise source of practical design guidance on downdraft cooling systems, moving the existing technology forward and into more widespread use in the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, a commendation for university-located research is awarded to the project's lead researcher, Professor Brian Ford. Now, a second commendation is also given in this category to site writing, the architecture of art criticism. This comes from the Bartlett School of Architecture. The panel considered that by raising fundamental questions about our rapport with objects and space, this collection of essays has the potential to become an important reference for alternative theoretical discourses in architecture. Ladies and gentlemen, a commendation for university-located research is awarded to Professor Jane Reddell. Now, in addition to the two commendations, there is a single project which wins the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding University-Located Research. This is entitled Spatial Agency. It comes from the Universities of Sheffield and Westminster. The judges said, describing a series of case study projects that are marginal to the mainstream activities of the architectural profession, unofficial and informal practices, this is a timely study. It raises issues that are vital for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of this year's RIBA President's Award for Outstanding University-Located Research are Dr. Tatiana Schneider and Professor Jeremy Till. We now move on to the final of the President's Awards for Research. The dissertation which wins the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis is entitled The Function of Robust Technology in the Construction of a Third World Practice, Architecture, Design and Labour Training. Originating from the University of Melbourne, Australia, this was described as a huge, far-reaching study that addresses the problems of authentic, lasting and achievable development across the developing world. It carries a relevant and accessible message for architects in those economies, but applies equally to the United Kingdom context. As an innovative, cross-disciplinary investigation, it is a paradigm for how research integrating issues across the construction industry might be undertaken. We are delighted that the winner has travelled from Sri Lanka to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's RIBA President's Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis is Dr. Melinda Pathiraja. We now move to this year's winners of the President's Medals Student Awards. Now, every year, schools of architecture all over the world are invited to nominate 2 student design projects for the Bronze Medal at RIBA Part 1, 2 projects for the Silver Medal at RIBA Part 2, and 1 nomination for the Dissertation Medal. And each year, international juries of distinguished architects and academics select the most outstanding design portfolios and dissertations from the work submitted. We will start by awarding the Dissertation Medal. Our tireless dissertation judges read 47 dissertations, the highest number in the history of the awards, in less than 2 months, and then gathered here at the RIBA to discuss these and award the Dissertation Medal and commendations. This year, the dissertation judging panel, chaired by Professor Peter Blundell-Jones from the University of Sheffield, included Professor David Edgerton from Imperial College London, Dr. Alexandra Stara from Kingston University, and Dr. Teresa Stopani from the University of Greenwich. I'd now like to invite to the stage Oliver Richards, RIBA Vice President for Education, and Angela Brady, to award the commendations and medal in the dissertation category. The first commendation in this category goes to the dissertation Arcapana, the Church in the City Without God. This ambitious dissertation falls into two parts. The first half presents a history of utopias, pointing out the special role of focal buildings. The second half embarks on the story of Nowa Huta, a new town on the edge of Krakow, built after World War II as an embodiment of communist ideology and Soviet power. The central object of the piece is the Catholic Church, Arcapana, a focus of resistance and ideological change. Its siting, design, construction, funding and technology are related in detail to the political struggle for a new Poland. The judges felt that this dissertation was a remarkable evidence of the symbolic power of architecture. The dissertation was supervised by Julian Williams at the University of Westminster. Ladies and gentlemen, the first commendation in the dissertation category goes to Julianne Cassidy. The second commendation in this category goes to the dissertation Constructing the Other, the role of space in continuing conflict in Northern Ireland. The judges agreed that they have encountered several dissertations on the troubles in Northern Ireland, but none as scholarly and well-written as this. It takes as case studies those areas of Derry inhabited by sectarian groups, describing the formation and reinforcement of barriers, the making of thresholds, the imposition of signs and murals, and the routes chosen for commemorative marches. The dissertation built a convincing argument of more general relevance, that symbolically defensive apparati, far from protecting the groups and keeping the peace, sharpened territorial edges to consolidate and exacerbate social divisions. The dissertation, supervised by Zeynep Kiza, was submitted by the University of Newcastle. The author and winner of the commendation is Joanna Docherty. The third commendation in the dissertation category goes to the Buyukada Museum, building new viewpoints on the Istanbul pogrom. This clever and sophisticated dissertation is about the memory of a 1955 pogrom in Istanbul, which was recorded in a series of 216 photographs by an agent of the church. In an impressive display of what can be achieved with historical evidence, the student reconstructed the positions from which these photographs were taken and the path followed by the photographer, which in turn allowed reconstruction of the temporal sequence. Impressive drawings based on reversed perspective led to ideas about the production of a museum space. The dissertation, submitted by the Bartlett School of Architecture, was supervised by Professor Jane Rendell, and the author and winner of the commendation is Costa Elia. The dissertation winning this year's medal is entitled Bush Owner Builder. This dissertation demonstrated a profound social concern, and it impressed the judges by combining both full and effective research with a questioning of the architect's role. It concerns the Aborigine population of Hope Valley in northwest Australia, who, stranded and displaced in the modern world, fall into depression and other social problems. These people had no land rights until 1976, colonists having denied them any kind of ownership. Their deep traditional and spiritual ties to place have, however, persisted and constitute a different idea and experience of possession. Many now seek solace in a return to homelands in the bush, which, when achieved, have a hugely and strong beneficial effect. However, the impossibility of reassuming a hunter-gatherer existence forces them to seek new ways of housing and subsisting. Here, the student and her group, through detailed inquiries into user needs and wishes and the production of tentative designs that can be interpreted and adapted, defines a starting point for self-help. The judges found the dissertation full, thorough, and real. Supervised by Philip Goad at the University of Melbourne in Australia, we are delighted that the student is able to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's dissertation medal is Hannah Robertson.
Support of all modes of architecture at an international level. I've been fortunate enough over the course of this project to have been mentored by a number of academics at the University of Melbourne. In particular, I'd like to thank my supervisor, Dr. Philip Goad, for his support and providing such an encouraging atmosphere to really develop the designs and the research to the best of my ability. I would also like to thank Noel Pearson, Cape York Partnerships, MH Carnegie and Maury Colleen for turning this project from research into a built outcome. I am also indebted to the Hopevale community for facilitating this project and really making it happen. It's impossible to mention everybody at the community, but I would like to particularly mention the Hart, the DMAL and the Gibson families for their support, and also teachings, assistance and building the house themselves. Finally, I'd like to thank my family and a close handful of friends, some of whom are here tonight, for their reassurance and belief in the project. This is such a fantastically thrilling opportunity, and I really hope that it's just this minute contribution is just the start of a long career where I can continue to learn and develop an understanding of social architecture. Thank you.
Congratulations to our winners in the dissertation category. Now, for the design projects, we viewed thousands of images and hundreds of portfolios. After 2 days shortlisting and a further day of hard decisions, the judges agreed who'd won the medals and who was commended for outstanding work. The judging panel was chaired by Oliver Richards and included Jorge Ayala, Alison Brooks, and Edward Francois. We'll start with the bronze medal category that rewards design projects produced in the course of an RIBA Part 1 qualification. The judges awarded one commendation to a student from London South Bank University for the project Institute of Language and Knowledge. The project began with the analysis of the south side of the River Thames between Lambeth Bridge and Tower Bridge. Using mirrors, the student charted the journey along the riverbed at low tide, cataloguing physical and emotional states dependent on the river's ebb and flow. The historical diversity of London initiated a conversation about a school of knowledge and languages, with the Tower of Babel as a biblical analogy, continuing themes of research into earth, sky, and the spiritual. The project was tutored by Seamus Ward, and the author is Daniel Schnagel. And now the bronze medal, awarded to the best design project at Part 1. The winning project is entitled An Acoustic Lyrical Mechanism. The project speculates on sound energy and ambient space within an active granite quarry. Located on the outskirts of Bangalore, India, the mine employs a transient cast of women and children whose hearing is progressively damaged by the noise pollution endemic to their working conditions. The mechanism creates a long-term strategy where sound and religious spaces offer relief, treatment, and hope for the community of workers. Part documentary, part speculation, the project reflects on sites and people lost in the rush to a dubious technological progress, at the same time celebrating hope through an analogue mechanism. The judges considered it a visionary project that was developed and presented in a thoroughly sophisticated way. The winning project comes from the Architectural Association and was tutored by Nanette Jakovsky and Ricardo de Ostos. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the bronze medal for Best Project submitted at Part 1 is Basma Kaki.
First, I would like to start by thanking the RIBA. I'm truly honored to be receiving this award today. I want to thank the Architectural Association and everyone who helped me throughout the years, especially my tutors, Nanette and Ricardo de Ostos, for their support over the past 2 years, and also for creating such a unique, challenging, but truly amazing unit. My friends, especially the ones who made it today, for their constant support, but most importantly, my family. They have been there through it all, and can't imagine doing it without you. You make everything possible. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations to our Part 1 winners. Now, as mentioned earlier, we are very grateful to the SOM Foundation that, in addition to their sponsorship, recognises the talent of work submitted by awarding the SOM Foundation Travelling Fellowships. This year, the SOM Foundation judging panel comprised Kent Jackson from SOM, Ken Shuttleworth from Make, and Richard Rogers of Rogers Stirk Harbour and Partners. At Part 1, the judging panel awarded one commendation to Daniel Schnagel and the fellowship to Basma Kaki. At Part 2, the SOM Foundation Travelling Fellowship goes to Stephen Koch, Sean Peel, and Hannah Wilson, who worked together on the project Zeitgeist Archive Berlin, submitted by the University of Liverpool. Now, the main judging panel also awarded the Sargent Award for Excellence in Drawing at both Part 1 and Part 2 for students who produced the best architectural drawings. And this year's winners are, at Part 1, And for a remarkable third time on stage tonight, Daniel Schnagel from London South Bank University for the project Institute of Language and Knowledge. And at part 2, Christopher Christofi from De Montfort University for Ecological Research and Macroalgae Monitoring Facility, North Arsenale, Venice. And now for the Silver Medal Awards at RIBA Part 2. In addition to the Silver Medal, the judging panel awarded 3 commendations. The first commendation at Part 2 goes to the project Metamorphoses, Echoes Retreat, jointly submitted by 2 students from the University of Sydney, Australia. The project is a physical manifestation of Book 3 of Ovid's 14 BC text Metamorphoses, specifically the story of Echo, the love-struck nymph who fades away after rejection by Narcissus. As Ovid tells it, Echo became so distraught that her bones turned to stone and only her voice remains. Echoes and bones were therefore the starting point for a creative retreat, a place to avoid those stresses that engineer catastrophe. A series of inhabitable chambers were positioned within the Echo, an undulating membrane stretched across the structure comprising many small bones. The students were tutored by Sarah Gilder, and we're delighted that they have travelled across the world to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the first commendation in the Silver Medal Part 2 category are Duncan Corrigal and Daniel Spence. The second commendation at Part 2 goes to the project Ecological Research and Macroalgae Monitoring Facility, North Arsenale, Venice. The project was conceived to address recent pressures facing the Venetian lagoon, specifically focusing on invasive algae growth. Situated in the derelict naval warehouses at the North Arsenale, the project proposes a group of laboratories and structures to monitor, analyse and understand algae growth, while collecting and harvesting the existing crop for biofuel to return to the city. The project comes from De Montfort University and was supervised by Sarah Chaffier and Ben Cowd. The winner of the commendation, for the second time on stage tonight, is Christopher Christofi. And the third commendation in the Silver Medal category goes to the project Human Nature. This project takes place in 2021 and envisages the consequences of governmental privatisation of nature. In such a scenario, the world of luxury goods capitalises on the improvement to beauty of genetic engineering and a growing demand from eco-guilty consumers who have lost faith in climate science. Responding to dichotomies in human behaviour, a flawed eco-industry glimpses a new dawn through a genetically engineered nature. An authentic concern for environmental conservation is maintained through its reprofiling as consumer attraction. Supervised by Nicola Collar and Rosie Head, herself a 2007 SOM Fellowship winner, the project was submitted by the Royal College of Art. And the winner of the commendation is Mary Koiser. And finally, the project that wins this year's silver medal for the best design project at Part 2 worldwide is called Robots of Brixton and was submitted by the Bartlett School of Architecture. Robots of Brixton is both a design proposition and film project that explores relationships between architecture, class and race. The project shows Brixton as a disregarded area inhabited by London's new robot workforce. In this fictional context, the mechanical population of Brixton has rocketed, resulting in unplanned, cheap and quick additions to the skyline. The film follows the trials of and pressures on young robots, surviving at the sharp end of inner city life, constrained by poverty, disillusionment and mass unemployment. When the police invade the one space the robots can call their own, the strained relationship between the two sides explodes into a fierce outbreak of violence, echoing the riots of 1981 and 2011. Robots of Brixton is a project that bridges architecture and politics, using the medium of film as an open, accessible and innovative language to describe the built environment. The judges were extremely impressed, not only by the seductive visual imagery, but by an exceptional portfolio that revealed tremendous inspiration, dealing with the social and physical analysis of urban space and those design responses appropriate to this. Simon Kennedy and Nick Clear tutored the student. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's silver medal for the best project submitted for Part 2 is Kibwe Tavares.
I had an overwhelming response from this project, and it allowed me to kind of answer a lot of personal questions I had about, as you were saying, race, class and architecture and how it all fits together. I had a lot of support though, so I've got quite a few people to thank. Firstly, thank to Nick Clear and Simon Kennedy for allowing me to have a platform where I could do pretty much whatever I wanted and also be ambitious with it. I'd like to thank the other guys from Unit 15 because we all helped each other out and pushed each other. I'd like to thank Robin Partington because he gave me the resources that I kind of needed to do the project, along with Lauren and Vesna, Robert, as they mentored me through the process. I'd like to thank my flatmates for paying the electricity bill. And I'd like to thank my girlfriend and my family for supporting me all the way through. And I'd like to thank also RIBA for kind of taking a punt and going for it. Cheers.
I left my glasses over there. Doesn't matter. I know what I have to say. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I want to really say that you have to go up and see the exhibition if you haven't seen it already. The students' work is outstanding, and you've seen some of it today, a little taster. We want to thank all of our sponsors who we couldn't have done this without. And again, let's support our students in whatever way we can. If you're a practice, we've got mentoring schemes. We can adopt a student. We can help students in whatever way because we want a future for our profession. Thank you all very much for coming.
I think it's important just to add to that our principal sponsors, our associate sponsors, our judging panels, and all the RIBA staff and volunteers that made this ceremony possible tonight. This is a 10-month lead time to get to this point here, and I would like to extend personal thanks to everybody in the education team, particularly John Paul Nunes, Head of Education Projects. Now, we hope you've enjoyed the ceremony, and we're sure you'll join us for the reception in the Florence Hall on the first floor. Do, as Angela suggested, take a look at the exhibition of winning work. It's going to be here for a few weeks to come. Please help yourself to the catalogue of the President's Medals winning work, produced in association with the RIBA Journal, but most importantly, please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much.